Today we're gonna test how different it actually is going from 5Nm to 8Nm with the CSL DD. And we're gonna try it out in 3 different games. First up is EA WRC, then we'll move on to Richard Burns Rally, and lastly we will try out Assetto Corsa Lastly we're gonna try out ACC. And the way we're gonna do it is that first I'm gonna drive with the 8Nm, then I'm gonna switch to the 5Nm and then back to the 8Nm. And in both rally games I'm gonna do one stage, and on ACC, well, I'll do pretty much the same, except that I'll just drive one stage or one circuit. First I'm gonna drive a couple of laps with the 8Nm, then I'll switch to the 5Nm and then back to the 8Nm. And the reason why I'm doing it like driving first with the 8Nm and then going to the 5 and then back to the 8 is I'm trying to maximize the possible difference I'll feel. So I'll refresh my memory how it feels with the 8Nm first, then I'll go to the 5Nm and probably see and feel some kind of difference, and then when I'll move back to the 8Nm I hope that I'll maybe feel even more of a difference. My initial impressions when I switched from the 5Nm to the 8Nm were that to me it doesn't make any sense to sell the 5Nm. The difference was that big. I think that was my impression back then. But who knows, maybe it was just because I was excited to get the 8Nm, and I think I'll hopefully be able to sense a bit more difference since now I have more experience driving these different games. Back then I drove only this EA WRC. Now we've done one run with the 8Nm. I will not show those first runs because I don't think that'll make any difference. Let's see how the 5Nm feels. You can certainly tell it's a lot less force feedback. It feels actually really light to turn, even though it's maxed out on the 5Nm. From the Fanatec control panel, feels like there's like no force feedback almost. It's that big of a difference. Oh, looks like I've spoken too hastily. It seems that I haven't still resolved completely my problem with the shaft and the clamp around it, because it just disconnected, although it did instantly connect again. Let's see if it works. It's weird actually how big of a difference there is between 5Nm and 8. Like I said, it feels like there's no force feedback at all. I mean, there is of course, but it's just such a big of a difference. It feels really numb, if that is something one can say. You don't get anything compared to the 8Nm. Based on this, I'm really happy I have the 8Nm power brick. The difference is huge. In this game at least. This sort of feels like a toy now. It's really weird. But now we can switch back to the 8Nm and let's see how that feels. I'm getting tired of saying Newton meter. Such a long and hard word. The difference is huge. On paper it doesn't seem like it's this big of a difference, since it's only 3Nm, but how it actually feels is like it's at least double the amount of force feedback we're getting. It's a huge difference, and based on this game I would not recommend getting the 5Nm. If you have the cash available, I would definitely recommend going straight to the 8Nm. I'm gonna stand by my statement I made back when I got the 8Nm power brick. The Fanatec shouldn't be selling this 5Nm version. This would certainly make a bigger impact when getting hands on direct drive wheelbase for the first time at least. It's a shame that the power brick upgrade is such an expensive upgrade, even though it is good that one is able to do that. New personal best again. It's still a time, but it doesn't matter. We're done with this game, so let's move on to Richard Burns Rally then. And now we're in Richard Burns Rally, and yeah, the difference is again pretty huge. I just did this with the 8Nm version, and it felt dangerous, to be honest, at least with this car in this stage. I had some problems trying to handle the car or keep the wheel in my hands. It felt really strong, while this doesn't. I mean, there's a huge difference between these two games even. And this 5Nm in this game, I think it's better compared to the EA WRC, since it is stronger in this game. So you get, I think you get more out of it. And I'd almost say that the 8 is too strong even. Let's see, we're gonna switch back to that now. But man, yeah, there's a big difference. Can't wait what it feels in ACC. But let's switch back to the 8Nm now. I had to restart the game. It didn't like when I disconnected the wheel. There seems to be a huge difference between either cars or tracks or both in this game, because I can assure you that the force feedback was nowhere near these levels when I played this the last time during my previous session. Oh snap. Okay, so even, oh damn it. We got even serious damage. Well, it doesn't really matter. I want this car to stop. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I got what I needed from these 2.5 runs. At the 8Nm, it feels almost dangerous with this car or this track or the combination of those two. And it's a really big difference between the 5 and 8 again. Even bigger than in WRC. Now it's time to jump on to ACC and try it out there. I got a bit carried away. It was going so good that I didn't want to stop and switch to the 5Nm one. What? Is there any force feedback? No, it's not working correctly. Unfortunately, I had to restart the game. It didn't like when I turned off the wheel and switched the power brick. Now that there is at least some force feedback, the difference is again that big that I'm not even confident that the settings are correct, because again this feels more of a toy than an actual direct drive wheel. I don't get it, because on paper the difference is less than half, but how it feels is more than double. It's even harder to drive now because the wheel feels so light and toy-like. Yeah, I can't really find any other way to describe it. I think I'd probably be happy with this if I had no experience with a higher amount of force. And I think I was, if I remember correctly, I was pretty happy with this 5Nm before I got the upgrade for 8. But now to me it just feels like, how could anyone drive with this? The difference is just that big. I know I've been repeating myself with the phrase difference is huge, or big or whatever, there's no getting away from it. The difference is really, really, really big in my opinion. It's a lot harder to try now, and now that I know how the 8 feels, it doesn't feel that I'm driving a car anymore. I mean, driving a real car. Now it feels like I'm driving in game. Out of these 3 games, only EA WRC was the only one that didn't have any problems when I turned off my wheelbase and switched the power brick. It handled it just fine. Both Richard Burns Rally and this ACC, I had to restart the game between power brick switches. I don't have to even drive any laps. I can already jump to conclusion. Between 5 and 8 the difference is just that big that you really should not settle for the 5 if you have the money, that is. And of course, if you don't have experience with anything higher, then the 5mm is probably just fine. And it's not just the force feedback strength, it's that in every game it felt that I was missing something. I didn't get as much information as I do get from this, or maybe it was just that it felt like I'm driving a toy car instead of a real car. I can't put it into technical terms, the feeling and what is missing. I'm just able to tell that something is missing. It feels wrong after using a higher torque wheelbase. Well, it's the same wheelbase, but anyways. I'm just gonna leave it here. No more talking, follow me.
Finns in simland.